Good morning. Welcome to First Unitarian Society. My name is Kelly, and I am one of the ministers here. Thank you, Janet. I'm joined today by the worship team of Linda Warren and Daniel Carnes. I want to say thank you to all of those volunteering today in many important roles, to our greeters, Ann Smiley and Jane Richardson, to our ushers, Alice Delaquist and Phil Delaquist, to our hospitality providers, which means the people who make you coffee, Jeannie Hills and Jen Gaber, and to our lay minister, Carol Ferguson. Thank you so much. We could not do this without you. At First Unitarian Society, we question boldly, listen humbly, grow spiritually, act courageously, and love unapologetically. If you are visiting us today, welcome. We're so glad that you are here. If you would like more information about First Unitarian Society, please stop by the welcome table, which is located in the Commons, just out those doors to your, what is currently your right, what will be your left once you turn around to go out those doors. We hope that you'll be able to stay and join us for coffee hour immediately after the service that is in the Commons, same direction. For those connecting with us virtually today, we are especially glad that you are with us as well. And we hope that you will be able to take a moment and watch the announcement slides after today's service to learn about upcoming programs and events. The FUS Criminal Justice Reform Team and I would like to invite you to join us in attending the National Journey to Justice Bus Tour exhibit as it passes through Madison today from noon to 3 p.m. at Madison Christian Community. Madison Christian Community. In addition to the immersive traveling exhibit, the program will include a panel discussion on the unique harms of solitary confinement in Wisconsin state prisons. More details can be found on the red floors, or please come talk to me after the service. I hope you'll consider joining us to learn more about this harmful practice being done in all of our names. And now, I invite you to join me in a moment of silence as we center ourselves and bring ourselves fully into this time, joining together once again in community. Beloved companions, we arrive in this place where all we have to do is breathe. We don't have to impress or convince or win over. We don't have to know the words. It's okay we didn't read the book, or pass that class, or carry that title, or meet that mark. We don't have to be anything but who we are. We rest in essence together. And to move into this communal rest, we lay down our burdens, our longing, our craving, our unmet need, our error, our regret, our sudden disappointment, our anxiety, our shame, our sheer exhaustion, our bewilderment, our bafflement, our burgeoning terror. All of this, we lay down together today. As we do this, may we be filled instead with presence. May we feel held in the comfort of our community. May we discover new compassion for ourselves and others. May we meet this moment with gentleness, ease, and gratitude. For this air we breathe together, for these questions we ask together, for the justice we seek together, for the songs we sing together. Amen. And now I invite you to rise in all the ways that we do and to join me in the words of aspiration for the kindling of our chalice flame as they appear on the screen as best you can make them out. This chalice once lit is a declaration that every person is inherently worthy and has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. By our time, wisdom, attention, and money, may we make this community fully accessible and inclusive, a place where such flourishing may be fully realized. And now I invite you to reach out to those around you and greet each other with signs of love and peace. Well, it is good to be together, friends, and part of that is the joy of singing together. So I'll invite you to join me in our opening hymn, which is number 134, if you're using the silver and gray hymnals. Our World is One World, 134. Touches one affects us all. us round about the clouds that cover us, the rains that fall. Our world is one world. The thoughts we think affect us all. The way we build our attitudes with love or hate we make a bridge or wall. Our world is one world. Its ways of wealth affect us all. The way we spend, the way we share, who are the rich or poor, who stand or fall. Our world is one world, just like a ship that bears us all. When fear and greed make many holes, but where our hearts can hear a different call. Thank you. So now is the time when I call forward anybody who wants to come up and join me to hear a story today. Good morning. Hello. Hi there. Thanks for coming up. The story I have for you today is actually by a particular person because it was written pretty recently. And the name of the story is The Perfect Heart, and the name of the author is Priya Sher. So this is a fable. And one of the things that is maybe not always in a fable, but often in a fable, is that it doesn't seem to have a very obvious and specific time or place. It's kind of taking place in like a nebulous story zone, like a place where everything is just what it says that it is, just the simple labels, like a city is just a city, not a particular city, just a city, and a person is just a person. I hope so. Well, we're going to find out if it comes to life or not. I see your hand. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Now. Wow. Well, that's a very effective clock when you think about it, right? Because it's always now. That clock can't be wrong. Pretty good. Yeah. So here is the story that I have. So once upon a time, there was a city. Okay, right? There we go. Pretty straightforward. Just a city. A big city, a busy city with a busy marketplace in the middle of it. And in that marketplace, a young man stood up in front of the whole crowd and he announced to everybody over and over again, loudly, so that as many people as possible could hear him, that he had the most beautiful heart in the world. Most beautiful heart. Yeah, that's what he said. Now, I don't know if this is current vernacular anymore. Maybe you can help me out, right? But that sounds to me like what I think people call a weird flex. It's like, I don't really know why you're bragging about that, friend. But okay, all right. It was very proud about the beauty of his heart. Yes. The perfect heart. Yes, exactly. So he's saying, I have the perfect heart. And because, again, this is a story, magical or impossible things can happen, he literally took his heart out of his chest. He was fine, don't worry about it. And he held it up to people so they could see, look how perfect my heart is. And when he pointed to it, people could see that his heart was very smooth. It didn't have any particular pieces missing or any cracks or any cuts or anything. It looked like a healthy young man's heart, because that's what it was. And maybe some people listened to him, and maybe some people didn't. It was a busy marketplace. They had other things to do. But eventually someone came along who disagreed with him and said, "Son, your heart is perfectly lovely, and I don't mean to say that you shouldn't be proud of it, but it is not the most perfect heart. Here, look at mine." And the person he was talking to, this older woman that he was talking to, she reached into her chest, she pulled out her own heart, and her heart looked quite different from his. It was older, and it had some cracks in it, some cuts, some bruises, some places where it had worn away in bits. There were even a few pieces that were missing. She said, "You see this little sort of crack here? Well, that's where I gave away a piece of my heart to someone else. And they gave me a piece of theirs. I put it where the other piece had come from, but it didn't fit exactly right, and that's why there's this crack here. You see this bit where there's a chunk missing? That's where I gave a piece of my heart to someone else, and they didn't give me anything in return. But you can still see it there where it's missing. This wrinkle here, that's when my eldest daughter was born. This bruise is from when my father died. My heart does not have the same smoothness and consistency that yours does. It has more cracks, more flaws, more character. But I think that mine is the perfect heart." Thank you for listening to my story. We are going to sing you to your classes now. Oh, you can make the world so bright, and you can turn the day from night, and share your gifts and spread your light, and learn what you know. To know when you hear someone, to know when you smile, to know when you cheer someone you have always known inside. A hand that touches one in need, a gesture, any helping deed, and all can plant this caring seed. For kindness lights our world. Friends, I'm going to invite you to rise once more in body and or spirit, and to join me in singing our middle hymn, which is number 6 in the silver and gray hymnal, "Just as Long as I Have Breath," number 6. Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I ointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love. Our inspiration today is the poem "For What Binds Us" by Jane Hirschfield. There are names for what binds us: strong forces, weak forces. Look around, you can see them. The skin that forms in a half-empty cup, nails rusting into the places they join, joints dovetailed on their own weight, the way things stay so solidly wherever they've been set down. And gravity, scientists say, is weak. And see how the flesh grows back across a wound with a great vehemence, more strong than the simple, untested surface before. There's a name for it in horses when it comes back, darker and raised. Proud flesh. As all flesh is proud of its wounds, wears them as honors given after battle, small triumphs pinned to the chest. And when two people have loved each other, see how it is like a scar between their bodies, stronger, darker, and proud. How the black cord makes of them a single fabric that nothing can tear or mend. The contemporary Buddhist author and teacher Geshe Claire Greenwood is known in part for sharing the lessons and insights that she gained from her time spent working in monastery kitchens. In one of her reflections on this broad subject, she focuses on the special challenges of cooking with bamboo. In the environments to which it is suited, bamboo runs rampant. It grows very fast, and it can reach a significant height and durability very quickly. For donation-based kitchens, which is how traditional Zen Buddhist monasteries operate in Japan, this sometimes creates a special problem. At a certain time of the spring, once the bamboo has shot up again, a great many people become interested in disposing of this weed by any convenient means. And local communities of religious ascetics living under vows of both poverty and nonviolence make for a very convenient dumping ground, recipient of generosity. Bamboo is fibrous and woody. Just getting to the least inedible part of the plant requires difficult labor to peel back the stalks. But even the inner part of the plant, which might conceivably be useful for food, is still difficult to prepare because bamboo is toxic. Not in the sense that it will cause instant death, but if you eat it without its being prepared properly, it will make you physically ill. Only after a long, low, slow cooking process in rice water does bamboo finally become something that you can safely eat. And once that's done, Greenwood has much to say for the delicate flavor of the ingredient, as well as the spiritual satisfaction of having transmogrified something harmful and useless into something pleasing and nourishing. Life comes with many different flavors that are easy to appreciate, of course. The sweetness of a strawberry or the crunch of a peanut. These probably don't need a lot of explanation or justifications for you, although it is possible that there is someone here today who actually finds nothing pleasant about either of those options. And I look forward to hearing about your actual favorite foods after the service. But life also comes with plenty of bamboo. In the world we inhabit and the life that we share, hard things inevitably happen. Suffering is a certainty, and loss is a guarantee. Someone gets sick, someone dies, someone betrays us, or we betray someone else. Hearts break, love falters, sooner or later. Both the lucky and the unlucky, the privileged and the oppressed, will find such toxic ingredients as these on their plate. So it behooves us to learn a little something about cooking with them. And that is, I want to say at the outset, hard and lifelong work. As Pema Chodron, another contemporary Buddhist teacher, describes it, compassion is not a relationship between the healer and the wounded. It's a relationship between equals. Only when we know our own darkness can we be present with the darkness of others. Compassion becomes real when we recognize our shared humanity. Helen Keller, the author and activist, is famous because she became deaf and blind in her very early childhood and came to learn conventional language much later in life through unconventional means. But besides her disabilities, she was also an ardent socialist, a member of the Industrial Workers of the World, and an avowed Swedenborgian, an obscure sect of Christian heretics with radically progressive social ideals. Their founder, by the way, was admired greatly by Ralph Waldo Emerson and some of the other transcendentalists who are in our lineage, which makes their religion at least a very distant cousin to ours. So after becoming hugely famous in the early decades of the last century, Helen received a great many letters each year. I suppose that you could call them fan mail, the analog equivalent to modern-day Instagram comments or Blue Sky DMs. Many of these folks wrote to her about their problems and their suffering and their loss, such that she was moved to write a short booklet of brief reflections on the meaning of loss and death. Here is one of those reflections. We bereaved are not alone. We belong to the largest company in all the world, the company of those who have known suffering. When it seems that our sorrow is too great to be borne, let us think of the great family of the heavy-hearted, into which our grief has given us entrance. And, inevitably, we will feel about us their arms, their sympathy, their understanding. I do not think that Keller meant here that this makes our suffering good, or that we should be grateful for it. In any case, I certainly do not mean to imply that in quoting her. Life would be better if life were better. But things being as they are, we have the blessing of the commonality of pain. That commonality can be the training ground for our compassion, our ability to care about other people and their own particular hardships. As Khalil Gibran said, "Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding." And such understanding is the means to rescue us from a contempt for or an indifference to the suffering of others, or, nearly as bad, a pity for them. Nadia Bowles-Weber, the contemporary Lutheran minister and public theologian, has particularly harsh words for that last one. As a person who lives a life of moderate security and relative ease, I take particular heed to her warnings on the subject. She says, "Pity isn't even analogous to compassion. Pity is just the paternalistic cousin of contempt. It allows us to see others as those less fortunate than ourselves, a term I loathe. Pity keeps the other person at a distance and me in a rarefied state of satisfaction. I struggle to think of who would ever truly want it from another person. Compassion, on the other hand, draws us close. It is simultaneously sadly ironic and luminously miraculous that pain, that experience in the body or in the spirit that reflexively causes a pulling back, a tightening up, a shutting down, that feeling can also be the thing that draws us closer to others. It can be when and where we recognize the points of parallel between their pain and our own. There is a person, a category of person, that I see on most of the days that I preach. It is their first or second or third time coming to a service, at least for a long while, and possibly ever. They either arrive just before the service starts, or else they appear so early that for a while they find themselves nearly alone in the sanctuary. They sit near the back, or even better, in the balcony when there is one. They sit alone, or at least as alone as they can manage to be, in a room full of people. They are there because something has gone very wrong in their life. Maybe their heart has been broken by a lover or by the 6 o'clock news. Maybe they are wrestling with addiction, theirs or someone else's, or a very bad diagnosis, theirs or someone else's. Maybe they have lost a parent or a friend or a child. Whatever the specific reason, they are struggling to transform something awful into something a little less toxic to their soul. And we are the rice water in which they are slow cooking that particular dish of bamboo. When they leave as quick as they can, immediately after or even before the service is ended, they may be thinking, even hoping, that no one noticed they were there. But as one of the people who watches from the front of the room, I am always on the lookout for that person. They are doing important work, trying to teach themselves that they are not alone in their pain. Theirs is the blessing of poet John O'Donohue. May you be blessed in the holy names of those who, without you knowing it, help to carry and lighten your pain. But that blessing is for them, only because it is actually for all of us. The work of spiritual community is to help to carry and lighten each other's pain. In one of his songs, the great Leonard Cohen sings, or more precisely, he sort of speaks rhythmically, the following lines: "Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Life would be better if life were better. But it is through the cracks in our lives that the light of compassion enters the world. As the author Elizabeth Gilbert testifies, I have more compassion than if I had never been wounded, or if I had never been betrayed, or I had never been harmed. Those disappointments have made me gentler with other people and their disappointments, the stuff that they have to carry around and endure. Brian Stevenson, the lawyer and legal activist, founded the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, which honors the more than 4,000 Black Americans lynched in southern states between 1877 and 1950. About the universality of suffering and the ways in which it connects us, he says, "We are all broken by something. We have all hurt someone and have been hurt. We all share the condition of brokenness, even if our brokenness is not equivalent. Sometimes we're fractured by the choices we make. Sometimes we're shattered by things we would never have chosen. But our brokenness is also the source of our common humanity, the basis for our shared search for comfort, meaning, and healing. Our shared vulnerability and imperfection nurtures and sustains our capacity for compassion." Of course, the experience of suffering does not, in and of itself, guarantee compassion. We can get so caught up in our own hardships that we ignore the trials of others. Or we can run from the pain so far and so fast that we pretend it is not there at all. This is, I believe, the origin of contempt for the suffering of others. Looking down on those whose pain reminds us of our own, because we cannot bear to be reminded of it, because we are still running from it. So shame and denial about our own suffering is certainly a warning sign that we are not obtaining from a loss the only gift that it has to offer: compassion. But compassion is not simply a feeling. It is engaged caring. It is never reducible to any single act, and yet action of some sort is always a part of it. So that one of the best ways that I know of stopping our own flight from suffering, or of arresting the churning cycle that keeps us focused obsessively on our own pain, is in the tangible act of caring for someone, anyone else. Holding a hand, drying a tear, making a sandwich, all of it counts. As the contemporary essayist Maria Popova argues, there is no greater remedy for helplessness than helping someone else, no greater salve for sorrow than according gladness to another. What makes life livable despite the cruelties of chance, the accident, the wildfire, the random intracellular mutation, are these little acts of mercy, of tenderness, the small, clear voice rising over the cacophony of the quarrelsome, over the complaint choir of the cynics, to insist again and again that the world is beautiful and full of kindness. Or perhaps we could look to the somewhat more mystical framing of the poet Mark Nepo, who writes that my soul tells me we were all broken from the same nameless heart, and every living thing wakes with a piece of that original heart aching its way into blossom. This is why we know each other below our strangeness, why, when we fall, we lift each other, or when in pain, we hold each other, why, when sudden with joy, we dance together. Life is the many pieces of that great heart loving itself back together. Facing our own pain, accepting the reality of it, overcoming the shame or denial about it, and reaching out beyond the boundaries of it to comfort the pain of another. That is where compassion comes from. It's what compassion is. The practice is constant and ongoing. It is not something done once, but something done over and over again. As Geshen Claire Greenwood wrote, the more experience we have transforming poison into a meal, the more comfortable we become with difficult conversations, with immense tasks, with facing the unknown. We come to respect and understand our life's strange vegetables, the difficult friends, the unsatisfying careers. We learn to attend to them with attention and energy. Whenever I talk to you about the hard things in life, pain, struggle, loss, I always want to be honest about them, as I hope that we can be honest with each other and not minimize someone else's grief in order to comfort ourselves. So I close here with one more careful reiteration. Suffering has a weight that is real. It does not make life easier, but the shared reality of it can help teach us to make life more livable. To this time of giving and receiving, where we give freely and generously to this offering which supports the ongoing work of this community and the work of our outreach offering recipient, who this week is Madison Street Medicine. And I am going to call on our guest, Donna Masak, to tell us more about the organization and the good work that it does.
Hi. Thank you for letting me talk to you real quick about Madison Street Medicine today. Okay. Can you hear me now? You may have never heard of Madison Street Medicine, but we've been around for 10 years. We are a small nonprofit doing big work. We believe that housing is healthcare, and we are the only street medicine in the county. We meet people where they're at, whether that's our office, a shelter, the sidewalk, the woods, a parking lot, it doesn't matter. We partner with volunteer doctors, nurses, and medical professionals to provide free health care, food, clothing, supplies, housing resources, and a human connection to unhoused individuals. A core value at Madison Street Medicine is listening to the people that we serve. And one way we do this is by conducting regular community health needs assessments. These help guide us to tailor our programs and services to meet the growing and ever-changing needs of our clients. Our harm reduction services have helped to reduce the number of overdose deaths in Madison, and our clinics work to keep non-emergency visits out of the emergency room. The relationships we nurture help us build trust between unhoused people and a healthcare system that sometimes stigmatizes them. We hold weekly clinics in the street, the men's shelter, and at the Beacon. One of our most popular is our foot care clinic. We had it yesterday, where doctors and nurses kneel and wash very tired, overworked, often bleeding feet. Afterward, we give out shoes with Carol and socks and foot care supplies. And as you can imagine, it's profoundly powerful for givers and receivers, a cleansing love for souls and souls. In Matthew chapter 25:40, Jesus said, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." I love that verse. But the phrase, "the least of these," always pierces my heart. It might be human nature when someone is sleeping outside in dirty, worn-out clothing, or maybe asking for money, to look away or think of them as less. But Jesus put himself on that level, so I can never forget that someone may have less, but they are not less. They are never less. There are as many paths to homelessness as there are people experiencing it. Job loss, mental illness, immigration, military service, addiction, disabilities, bad decisions, abuse, or simply the hand that you're dealt. The truth is that with a different upbringing, a different experience, a different childhood, a different trauma, a different support system, a different health or mental condition, and for a million other reasons, anybody could be considered the least of these. I know this firsthand. As a child, I experienced severe physical and emotional abuse that led to my living in foster care and as a ward of the state. It wasn't a great beginning, and it got much worse from there. And I share that because it can be easy to judge, to assume that someone brought their situation on themselves, and maybe some of them did. But in truth, we aren't usually privy to their full story. And I think whatever the reason, in our hearts we know, we are not called to judge, but simply to love. And that simple truth is never more evident than in a homeless shelter full of doctors and nurses, people we trust with our very lives and hold in the highest esteem, who are on their knees washing an unhoused person's feet. At that moment, it doesn't matter how or why. What matters is the universal truth that we are all deserve to be seen and cared for and loved. Madison Street Medicine serves people with that kind of compassion and dignity every day. And I thank God that I get to be part of it and invite you to please reflect on ways you might be called to support our work. We are always looking for medical professionals to volunteer. We're always in need of supplies. And in this uncertain economic climate, where funding for nonprofits is scarce and not guaranteed, financial support is more important than ever. And if you'd like to hear more about us, please visit our website. You can follow us on social media, reach out to me. Carol knows how to reach me. And I really thank you again for this opportunity to speak to you today.
So there are multiple ways that you can make a contribution this morning. First of all, there are baskets being passed here in the hall for cash or checks. You can also donate from our website, fusmadison.org, and finally, see the text to give information, which is on the screen now. Thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we create together. Each week we gather, carrying in our hearts the joys and losses of our days. We bring them here and share them, knowing they are held gently in care, in support, and in love. One of us asks that we light a candle of love and care for their friend Matt Verzel, who recently passed away at the young age of 51, and for their cousin, Bobby, who was recently diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. We light a candle for all of those who feel isolated by grief, by chronic pain, by mental illness, and all others who are alone and lonely. To you we extend our compassionate hearts. We light a candle of ongoing lament for the violence which plagues our world. Fervently we yearn for peace here at home and all around the globe. We light one final candle for all that lives in our hearts, the joys, the losses, sorrow and celebration, for the love that remains through it all. I invite you now to turn with me both inward and outward as we join together in attitude of meditation and of prayer with these words from Richard Gilbert. Be gentle with one another. It is a cry from the lives of people battered by thoughtless words and brutal deeds. It comes from the lips of those who speak them and the lives of those who do them. Who of us can look inside another and know what is there of hope and hurt or promise and pain? Who can know from what far places each has come, or to what far places each may hope to go? Our lives are like fragile eggs. They crack and the substance escapes. Handle with care. Handle with exceedingly tender care. For there are human beings within. Human beings as vulnerable as we are, who feel as we feel, who hurt as we hurt. Life is too transient to be cruel with one another. It is too short for thoughtlessness, too brief for hurting. Life is long enough for caring. It is lasting enough for sharing, precious enough for love. Be gentle with one another. Amen. There is love holding us. There is love holding all that we are. There is love holding all we rest in this love. Friends, I invite you to rise one more time in body and or spirit, and to join me in our closing hymn, which is number 101, Abide With Me, 101. Abide with me as falls the eventide. The darkness deepens, still with when all is quiet, when we are small and the night is dark, may we hear the tender breathing of all who lie awake with us in fear, that together we may gather strength to live with love and kindness and confidence. Blessed be. Go in peace, and please be at rest for the postlude.